Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of eXhuming the X-Files here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. This is the show where we do what, Jeremy?
We exhume the X Files.
Yeah, exactly. We exhume the X-Files. We are making our way through season 5. We're just about done, and we are on episode 17 of season 5. It's called All Souls. This was directed by Alan Coulter, teleplay by Frank Spotnitz and John Shaban. Did you have any recollection of this episode?
Little bits of it here and there,
Yeah.
particularly the six finger, six toed thing, but that was about it. It was just very vague.
This is an interesting. Now you sent a message on Discord. You were 25 minutes in, and you had a message to me how you felt about this episode. I think we might have a difference of opinion on this. I think we might, but we won't want to
What's
spoil.
wrong with you?
We don't want to spoil anything. But remind me. I have a question I'd like to pose to you after we sort of get through this episode, because a mutual friend of ours, Mike Decatur, remind me to tell you about when I showed him Frailty and what his unique reaction and response was to Frailty after he watched it, which I hadn't really considered, and I think it applies to this episode in some ways. So, yeah, let's talk about All Souls, Jeremy. Let's kick it off.
It starts out where you see a 1988 Buick Cutlass Sierra. There's unmistakable lines in the car. It was just so fucking ugly. There was only one ever made like it. And out gets an old man with a briefcase, and it's a priest, and it's like after dark, and he's going to somebody's house. He opens up the door. The parents are there. It's like, is she ready? What are you? So he's there after dark to baptize somebody with some sort of mental illness, I guess. No, like
she's got
invalid?
she's got like definitely like sort of like mental handicaps. Like she's, I don't know,
She was in a
disabled.
wheelchair.
Yeah,
She
she's
like
like
she,
mentally disabled.
but they're gonna baptize her, and when he's like sprinkling water on her, she's all like squirming, like
Yeah.
Anyway, cuts to later that night. There's this crazy storm where you got hail balls the size of fists coming down from the sky. It's just real loud outside, and like light as lightning is striking, you could see the or lighting up the room. You could see the what is it? The wheelchair parked next to her bed, and then she like throws her feet over the edge of the bed like she's gonna walk.
Yeah.
But she has 6 toes on her feet.
Are you sure it wasn't 7? You were watching it in 480p.
I mean, I counted. It was
You just hit
so,
pause and you're like 1, 2, 3, 4.
but it does get better. She goes outside in the storm, and she sees Andy Dufresne washing himself of soap in the street after crawling through 300 yards of shit. And he's got his hands up to the sky. He's doing the Andy Dufresne pose at the end of the movie, and I'm like, I can't tell if this isn't Andy Dufresne in 480p. But as she reaches Andy Dufresne, he just lights up like a candle, and she falls to her knees and starts praying. And then in 480p, either she was left there with smoking holes where her eyeballs used to be, or eyeshadow, and she got turned into a goth. I didn't know. I couldn't tell. 480p. Then we got the title screen.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a moment that I did think was funny. So, like, the dad sees that she has run out into the street. He's like, "Oh my god!" And he runs out there. And when he sees her, now initially I thought like she was still alive, and it just burned out her eyes or something.
Yeah,
He's like,
I thought so.
"No."
I thought so too.
It's like, no, no, no. Actually burned out her eyes and completely killed this girl. But he's like holding her in this rainstorm going, Dora! It reminded me of like Darth Vader first becoming like, no! Like, that's how over the top this dad's performance was about his dead daughter in this rainstorm in the middle of the street.
And then they didn't let him act for the rest of the episode.
Right. I love this opening sequence. I was totally engaged in this, Jeremy. I was like, wow, because and this is going to get back when after we finished talking about this, I started thinking about this after it was over. And this most religious episodes of the X-Files that have that as like the main focus don't really catch my attention all that much. I mean, they're not ever up there with any of my favorite episodes or anything like this. But I loved how creepy the Andy Dufresne-esque guy looked in that rain. I love the whole rainstorm element. I love that he burned out this chick's eyes, and it's like what is going on here? I was into it. You weren't apparently.
Well, no, I mean, I really didn't see how creepy the guy looked. He just had his hands up towards the sky, like he was just letting the rain fall down on him because he was washing the poopy off of him from the prison. And that's all I saw. And then when she died, I thought she was still alive too.
Yeah.
So all I saw was darkened like makeup. Like she
I
can walk
mean,
now and now she's goth.
this would be an argument to not watch these in 480p. I mean, you're
No, it
making the
makes
argument for me here.
it makes it better, man. It makes it better for me.
Okay. All right. Well, I was really into this opening sequence. I was engrossed from the jump. Loved it.
Well, that makes one of us. So after the title screen, that's when, or I mean, I wasn't expecting less out of it. I wasn't expecting a bad episode out of it. It's just after the title screen, like, okay, it's another one of those things. It wasn't until right after the title screen that I knew I was going to hate the episode.
Oh, okay.
Because Scully walks her hot ass, but her hair looks so good.
Yeah.
That bob cut that she's got.
Yeah.
Into the church to this angelic music.
More women need that. Let's bring the Scully haircut back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Please just stop with the highlights because you have the bob, and then once you add the streak highlights to it, it becomes the Karen haircut.
Yes, agreed.
It doesn't work. But she shows up to church because she's there to confess, and she confesses that she's an FBI agent. She said she's supposed to uphold the law. She was approached by Father McHugh to save some girl, and she's super duper upset that she let an innocent girl die.
Yeah.
She feels she could have saved her life. And then we get into the story. Like Dana's been going to church lately. Good for her. I don't care that much, but good for her. But on her way out of the church, like the priest stands there at the door and talks to everybody. He's like, "Hey, can I see you in my office?" I'm like, you don't want to hear that from your wife, your spouse, your boss. You don't want to.
Never.
You don't want to hear it from the priest. Do you ever think something good is going to happen on the other side of that conversation when it comes your way?
No.
Like, we need to talk.
Yeah. Anybody let's talk privately over here with somebody with an authority figure is like, no, nothing good ever comes from that.
You start thinking about every awful thing you ever did in the last 2 weeks.
I have this really paranoid thing where I've told all my bosses where I work, I was like, never, ever call me at my desk. Don't ever do it. If you need to talk to me or something, just like hit me up with like a Teams message or something, but don't ever call me on the phone at my desk because I have this thing like if a person in authority like literally calls me at my desk, I'm like, I did something wrong. This is serious because no one does that. So when people do it, same thing that Scully was probably thinking when the priest was like, "Come into my office." I'm like, "Oh no,
oh shit, I'm going to hell."
Yeah, no. You can do it. You just need to confess. You're fine.
But Father McHugh basically forces Dana to go investigate. Like the way he presents it, there is zero room for her to say no or I have something to do. It was just do it, and she goes for it. I'm realizing that I'm kind of hating the confessional scene at this point because the X-Files music mixed in with the holy stuff. Like they always try to whether it's Indian music mixed with X-Files or Asian music or voodoo music, they try to kind of mix in the X-Files stuff going on there. And I can't stand the holy X-File music, the Catholic X-File music. It's so lame.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that this episode would have been better if the cold open had been just Scully in the confessional? Because she starts crying. I mean, it's another great performance by Gillian Anderson. She puts in work. But do you think it would be better if the cold open was just her going into the confessional and basically saying like, I killed an innocent person, and then boom, then we hit the title screen? Because I think that almost
It
would
would
have
have
been
had
better.
some more punch,
Yeah,
sure.
I
Yeah.
think that would have been better.
I I I do have one thing that could have made this episode awesome, and I can't get to that gripe yet because they
Okay.
don't really do a reveal until way late in the episode. But finds out that old girl had extra fingers, had extra toes. She had died and hit rigor mortis in that praying pose. So the doctor that was working on her is like was so spooked about it that she's like, I gotta go to fucking church. Like I had to do an autopsy on this girl while she's praying. It was weird.
That would be strange.
And then Andy Dufresne in his Buick shows up at a psych hospital to pick up some other redheaded kid with six fingers. And on his way into the door, some social worker stops Andy Dufresne to adopt the kid because he's there to adopt the kid.
Yeah.
And he stops him with the power of bureaucracy. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I didn't sign off on this, so you got to go. It's, oh, jeez.
You're gonna have to wait till the paperwork's done, my friend. And Andy Dufresne, for what it's worth, they are really making it look like he is the bad guy in this, because he's got that very like, you wouldn't expect this sort of priest to kind of act to this nice, kindly social worker the way, like the tone in which he talks to him. So it's like, okay, what's up with Andy Dufresne here? What's up with him?
Well, he was straight up being a creep. He was like he acted so well throughout this episode as far as being like a Henry Rollins but dirty style weirdo creep is
Yeah.
what he came across as. And I liked him. I actually did. Previously, Scully had mentioned that she wants to go to an expert with her stuff. It's like, okay, she wants to talk to Mulder about it. She finally does somehow get a hold of him, and he ends up calling her from a payphone outside of a doubleheader porn movie at an adult theater. Like he's just like, why? Or can you tell me anything about it? No. Well, what do you need me to do? It's like, well, I need you to find some adoption records without supplying any reason why. You're like, okay, and then just gets out and goes.
Well, no, his whole you're missing like the punchline here. He tells her, he's like, "Hey, Scully, I'm tailing a suspect right now. You got to make this quick." So it's just like, and then when it pulls back, he's just running into this porn theater. And what is it? A decade of dirty delinquents or something?
Yeah. Yeah, but there was a show. There was a showing at 8 p.m. and another show, a follow-up movie at 11. I'm like, you're going to sit there for the next 4 hours watching porn. Good for you, Mulder. Nasty. But all right, so Andy shows back up. Andy Dufresne shows back up at the psych ward to take Paula away. Paula is the name of the girl that was locked up in the psych ward. And he's like, wait, no, he's gonna pray to her until her eyes burn away. And I'm like, I wrote a stupid note. So Andy might be the sun god Ra, and I didn't know. And I was like, okay, so he shines really, really bright. He's got to be like some quasi non-Christian god that's killing people for some reason. We come to find out through Mulder that Paula, the person who just died in the same pose in her cell in the psych ward, praying and whatnot with her eyes burned out, that she was one of 4 quadruplets. And Mulder, in classic jump to conclusions fashion, offers his opinion about knowing nothing about what's going on.
Well, I love that he couches it by saying, because he's like, I know this is not my case, Scully, but would you want my professional opinion?
And of
And
course
she's just
she
giving him that look.
and he's like, this has got to be some sort of bona fide religious wacko. Is
Yeah.
basically what boils down to. It's like, how would you looked up some adoption records, homie? Like, what do you know?
Well, he knows that he does not believe that God and the devil and all and angels are real. So his mind is just going to, okay, well, it can't be supernatural. So I'm gonna use my serial killer profile mind that I'm famous for and just be like, it's a wacko.
I mean, it kind of was,
A little bit.
but we'll get there. Um, they go to visit Andy Dufresne slash Ra, the Sun God's church, about Paula's death. Not sure how he got involved in it, how they got pointed at him. Outside of did did they
Yeah,
even have the adoption paperwork? Like, I
that's a
don't
good
know why
question.
they went there. I don't.
Yes. Well, no, somebody told him, or God, who? Somebody in the episode says, "Oh, did you know that he was going to adopt her?" But I can't remember who it was. Somebody specifically says, "Hey, this guy was going to adopt her," and I think that's why they go to the church. But I don't remember who told them that.
As
Was it
soon
the
as they,
social worker? It might have been the social worker.
oh yeah, the ginger social worker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then they go. They immediately see some of his pamphlets that have an upside down cross on it. Mulder flips in, reads like 3 words from 4 different pages, and just like knows that this dude is just trouble.
Yeah,
While they're
this
there,
weird Bible or whatever, it's all apocrypha. It's all kinds of weird, wild shit.
and he fails not to seem like he's not at fault for this stuff. The way he doesn't really tell them anything. He just tells them about the fight between good and evil and how he's gonna do what he needs to do and stuff like that. It's like, oh, all right. Well, why don't they just bust him, take just lock him up at least for 24 hours questioning or something like
Yeah.
that? Because there's also somebody like peeking at them through a little slit, like he has
Yeah.
another girl locked up in his church, but they just don't see it. So Mulder sees straight through him. Scully doesn't. And like as hardcore as creepy as this guy was acting, Scully just doesn't put it aside. She believes him.
She's
It's
off her
like,
game because she's like really fallen into like the religious thing right now. So like every single thing, because she's seeing like visions. I can't remember. Has she seen a vision of her dead daughter yet, or is that later? Because at some point she's seeing visions. Because I know she was going to do an autopsy at one point or
yeah,
something,
this
right?
that's the next scene. Is
Okay.
Mulder suggests they need to find the other sisters before they can be killed. So Scully goes and does an autopsy. And during that autopsy, the kid becomes her daughter, which does so for that's another weak part of the episode that I felt is why or was this episode just written around finding closure for Scully and her kid?
I think so. One of the fun facts that I was reading was the writers consider this the unofficial third part of the two-part arc, which was what Christmas Carol and Emily. Now, what's really strange about all of this is, I watched this when I was young. I've watched this, through this. I always forget that Scully had this daughter. In the show treats it as this huge momentous event that occurs in her life, which oh yeah, technically it should. I always forget about that whole plot line because it's wrapped up so quick. It's just like I don't know. Like, I guess they're trying to do what I always complain that the show doesn't do and show the ramifications of a very serious traumatic thing to one of the characters. And I guess they were trying to just kind of like throw that out here in this episode. But she's very traumatized still about what happened to her daughter dying.
Yeah, yeah, I
And she thinks
guess I just
God, it's like a sign from God or something. That's what she believes. You're not buying it.
It felt well. It felt shoehorned. The whole kid stuff felt shoehorned into it. And I just don't. I don't understand what the value was of the daughter showing up like at all.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting point at the very end of this episode because the question I had at the very end of this episode was, did we resolve anything here? Like, was anything resolved with Scully at the end of this episode? Like, did she have her sort of quote unquote come to Jesus moment, or is she still just completely traumatized and none of the events of anything that happened here affect her going forward in any meaningful way? That was my main question from this book.
Seem what? Yeah, we'll talk about. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Let me see. So while she's doing the body examination, she sees a couple of like cancerous growths on the shoulder, and somehow comes to the conclusion that there was maybe bumps for wings.
Of course.
Sure. Um, the kid, or of course, the kid, or the body becomes the daughter. The daughter's like, "Mommy, let me go," or some shit like that. Cuts back to Mulder. He's conducting his own side investigation, and he ends up like tailing Andy Ra, the sun god's Buick, and while he's chasing down some homeless girl.
Yeah.
And it seems like as Andy is about to corner the homeless girl, here comes the sun, called Bright. Mulder walks in, gun drawn, has the priest dead to rights. The girl is dead, eyeballs burnt out in the praying position, and he puts his gun away,
I
which I
know.
thought was so weird.
I wrote that down. I was like, he's got the gun on the dude, and he's like, "Where is she?" And she's like, "He's dead over there in that room." And he walks into the room where he can no longer see the priest, and he just puts his gun away. I'm like, why is he doing that?
I They've drawn it and kept their guns drawn for less, so I don't.
I know it's weird.
But so they arrest him, and as they're they're talking to this priest who's not really saying anything, Mulder is just roast.
He's playing bad cop.
Oh, he had a great quote during that scene. I did not write it down, but it was something, because the priest is praying in his face, and he's like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
when you're doing that, they say that's when you get to talk to God. But when God talks back, they call that like
schizophrenia.
schizophrenia." Smiling at him.
Yeah, Mulder's not buying this guy at all.
Uh,
But
and
the,
what he
but the
ends up
dude,
confessing, he's
yeah, yeah.
go ahead.
Oh,
No, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's basically telling them that I'm trying to protect these women. And does he actually straight up mention basically it's like the devil at this point is
Oh
trying to
yeah,
go
he
after these
says
girls?
he
Yeah.
says he's trying to beat the devil to the fourth girl,
Yes.
and unless he does so, the devil's victory will be complete. I'm like, what victory? Doing what? Saving her from what?
Yeah.
Scully doesn't know, and nor will we. It's like that's about in the episode when I fucking snapped, because it was like this. The way this is presented and what is going on is that could be a fun, interesting angle, like a deep cut lore, Christianity lore angle about the fight between good and evil. Like, lean into it, make us believe that, but then maybe pull a bait and switch and find out that Andy Dufresne was a killer all along and it wasn't really that. Or, like X-Files does, leaves it
Yeah.
hanging in the
Ambiguous.
air, like maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. You'll never
Yeah.
really know. There was an opportunity to do it, and as of that scene, it's just like, no, we're not going to learn anything, because we know that conversation just ended, and it's never going to be expanded upon.
Yeah, that's the more you're talking about this, the more I'm seeing flaws in this episode. Because no, I mean, I'm being fair here. Like, I like this episode, but the more we're discussing it, I'm like, wait a minute, because that's another point. It's like, what the devil's going after these four for why? Like, like what is
Yeah.
the ultimate thing? We never really figure that out.
And
Um,
there's a Father McHugh scene where he just makes up some shit from the Bible. Like he talks about the seraphim. And
yeah,
I'm skipping like 1.5 scenes forward real quick, but he's talking about the seraphim, how angels bred with humans. This is all in the book of Enoch and I think a couple of other side stories in the Bible itself. But the seraphim end up becoming giants. 2 rows of teeth, huge human beings. They bred with women. It was a bad thing according to God. They ate human beings.
I think
Um,
their kids were the Nephilim.
oh yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. The seraphim were the angels. The Nephilim were the giants, the
yeah,
giant race. They bastardized that, and just it became that they were deformed human beings, and they suggest that they were always born in quadruplets.
yeah.
So the 6 fingers, 6 toes, renob in a chair thing was, why does God put hits out on these people? They have bad lives.
Yeah.
But okay, whatever. But he's making this shit up. And it's like, all right, if you're just going to make shit up about the Bible and the stories and the side lore of Christianity anyway, why not just go all the way and tell us about this particular struggle between Satan's need to collect these 4 souls and why?
Yeah. Learning about the why would have been very important for
It,
this episode.
it, they laid the groundwork for it. They just didn't fucking do anything with it.
I
They
agree.
also laid the groundwork within the last 10 minutes of the fucking episode, which also bothered me. Um they leave the priest. Scully is still like so certain that she's right about what's going on cuz, Mulder thinks they have their guy. Scully doesn't believe it because she saw her dead daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But Mulder is sensitive to the fact that she's like seeing her daughter, but he's not believing in the horse shit.
Yeah.
He's being less dickheaded than he has been in the past, but still not buying
Even the priest later on, when she's like, I saw all this stuff, and even the priest is like, nah, I think you're just kind of wacko right now. Like, none of this is really, like, there aren't these things running around the earth right now, lady.
right. But he humors her and gives her the fake story. So all
Yeah.
right. The ginger social worker for the bureaucrat shows up from way earlier to bust into Andy Ra, the sun god's interrogation room, and cooks him.
This is a
Like,
cool scene. I like this scene. I wish the episode had more of these kind of scenes. Because this is where we find out, like, oh yeah, the ginger social worker is quite literally Satan,
yeah,
and he just
right,
roasts this guy.
yeah, just leaves him. It looks like he's covered in fucking buffalo wing sauce, and there's smoke pouring out of his mouth. They did in 480p. The effect looked a little weak.
Didn't look great.
Okay, all right. Um, and then somehow Scully is outside, and I can't remember exactly why she was where she was, but it seems like she gets approached by the ginger social worker,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's the seraphim. It's the angel who has a cat face, a bird face, a goblin head, and, and who knows that like they spelled it out with the priest earlier. No. It's after
It's
this because
after
she
this,
sees
yeah.
that and she just gets approached by this thing. It bathes her in light like she's about to get smote.
Yeah.
She
I,
sees 4 different heads.
I was like, how is she gonna get out of this? They're gonna burn
They
her Scully's eyes out? Apparently the seraphim was just like,
just left her on.
hey girl, look upon the cat version of the face that he shows Scully. It reminded me of, I don't know if you've ever seen Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, that
I
movie.
have.
That the cat creature thing, monster, that's what it looked like. I was like, oh my
But it
goodness.
was clear it was a cat. And the face
Yeah,
before that was a bird. What was face number 3?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, right. Like
Look
she
at it.
but she survives this encounter with whatever the hell it was, and she goes to see Father McHugh again, and that's when we get the whole backstory of the seraphim, the Nephilim. He points out that they have four faces, and he's very specific. It's got a cat face, it's got a bull face, it's got a bird face, and was it the face of a man or another animal?
I don't remember.
But the Nephilim itself did not have a bull's face or whatever the fourth face was. It was just like bird, cat,
Yeah,
zombie. It was so
I
bad.
think that the seraphim has the four faces, and the Nephilim were just kind of like deformed
Oh,
giant
I'm sorry.
creatures.
Yes, yeah. Well, no. The Nephilim were the girls, the four redheads with
Right,
six toes.
I'm just talking like biblically because he's talking in a biblical sense.
Gotcha. And so, Nephilim children, quadruplets. And he makes up some shit about seraphim coming to save the souls from the devil by smoting them. But then the priest just says it's fake.
Yeah.
Ginger social worker shows up in place of a cell phone suddenly to tell Scully to go to Father Gregory's church because Mulder wants her to go to Father Gregory's church. And she just gets in the car with him and goes. This random ginger social worker that said like four words to them this whole episode.
Look, maybe
And
she's got a kinship with fellow gingers.
she would she would get in a van that said free candy on it with a ginger real. So and we find out very immediately afterwards or Scully goes into the church and apparently the ginger can't follow her. Says there's a girl in there. You must bring me the girl. And his voice starts getting this audibly drag queen deeper.
Yeah,
As,
because that actually happens in the when he roasts the priest in the what a jail or whatever. Yeah, his voice starts getting low, like he's the a demon in that as well.
it was
Oh,
a very not cool effect. I could hear it in 480p and it wasn't that great. But so she finds this girl and she just does this terrible job of rescuing her. It's so sleepy. She kind of has her arm like they're holding hands as she's walking through the church, and the devil is at the door, like, bring me the girl. And she's like, no. And they slowly walk away to the bright light in another
yeah, she
room.
ain't trying to pull her very hard. She's like,
No.
no, no, please, please don't go.
And the girl's like, I want to go towards the light. I want to go in the light room real bad. I don't want to go towards Ginger Satan with his drag queen voice. And
Well, his shadow. Did you see in 40p? His shadow had horns. That's how Scully realized not to go towards him.
oh, I didn't see that. I just
Yeah,
thought
his shadow had horns.
the voice and the aggression. But anyway, the fourth girl gets smote by the seraphim in the next room, and then like so they say something about faith at the end. I think the priest is listening to the end of the confession after hearing this entire story, and he's like says something to the effect of maybe faith is accepting your loss.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and that's like the end. And Scully's still like crying. So it's not like she had some sort of like major revelation here
no.
from this priest. And it's kind of like, well, was anything resolved with Scully at all in this, or did she just become more traumatized?
Depends. Is she just going to keep on seeing her daughter randomly in episodes and then it tells her to go do things like lazily save people but fail to?
That'd be interesting because I don't, like I said, I barely even remember that Scully had a kid. And like we're literally watching this pretty much week to week. I still don't even really remember that she has it. Did this was that a plot point that you remembered vividly as like an important part of Dana Scully's character was this dead daughter Emily?
I remember that she was pregnant. I remember that the baby was taken away. I never remember that the baby ever came back.
Yeah, same here. So I didn't remember it when we basically watched those episodes. Oh, that was a few episodes back in this season. And basically when I got to this episode I'm watching it, I was like, oh yeah, like her kid did die. I actually had to go back and like read Wikipedia, like what happened to this Emily kid? Oh yeah, I got that was one where it had all those weird like pustules that were shooting green mist out, and then she died of cancer or whatever. And I was like, I'd already forgotten that happened because I just don't give a shit. Like I don't care.
I just don't give a shit.
So I have a question for you. I'm going to tell a story about our friend Mike
Like
Decatur.
Decatur. Okay.
So, good friend Mike Decatur, I used to have a podcast with him, and we would talk about various movies, and we would pick movies that each of us had never seen before. And I recommended Frailty. Now, Frailty, I think, is an incredible movie.
Amazing movie.
Absolutely incredible. I love that movie to death. Anybody out there listening to this podcast, if you have not seen Frailty, seek it out. It's got to be on some streaming service, I'm sure, but it is fantastic. So I told Mike, I was like, all right, you got to watch this movie. And Mike watches it, and we get back on like next week on the podcast. And I was like, so what did you think? He's like, I hated it. And I was like, you hated it? What do you mean? And he loved it until the very end of the movie. And the very end of the movie ruined it for him. And he said, he was like, the reason why this movie was ruined for me is because at the end they confirm it's all real. They confirm that God is real. They confirm like the angels are real. They because Mike doesn't believe in any of that stuff. So he's like, as soon as the sort of next twist, unfortunately, I probably just spoiled it for everybody. But once it gets that end twist, um, it just made him hate the entire rest of the movie. He loved the movie when it was ambiguous and you did not know whether or not any of this stuff was real, and he would have preferred to have just left it open ended so that he could imbue his own perspective on it, thinking like, oh yeah, this is just a wacko religious serial killer. But once the film, took a stand on what it is trying to say, and what the film itself believes in, he hated it after that. It ruined the entire thing for him. And that's I thought of that with when I finished this episode, because this is an episode like most religious themed episodes of X Files. Um, there is that level of ambiguity that you were kind of mentioning earlier, where it's like, is it real? Is it not? I remember Beyond the Sea, right, in season one, very a spectacular episode, very kind of religious, with Boggs sort of reaching out to the afterlife and Scully's dead dad, and is he really kind of like, I don't know if a ghost spirit, whatever, trying to talk to her. You see all that religious imagery when Boggs is saying, "Hey, when you come up to the cross, that's where you're going to get shot, Mulder, or whatever." But it's kind of ends on a. But it all could have been just Boggs doing his thing, manipulating whatever. This episode specifically comes down on, "Hey, X Files fans, this is not ambiguous. God is real. The devil is real. And all of this shit that's in the Bible, that's all real too, and that's just going on in the world as Mulder and Scully are running around doing their thing." So my question to you is, do you find that to be something that is kind of, I don't know if it's like over the line for X Files, or I don't know exactly how I want to phrase it, but do you think that's just a bridge too far? Like they should not have just went straight down on the side of like, yep, the devil's real. He's just running around murdering people in the real world. Like, do you have a problem with that? I guess.
I, I would have to care. I would have to care to have a problem with it. I think um, that you rephrased it. Like I love Frailty too,
Yeah.
and I I don't I loved the twist on the end, but now that I've got Mike's perspective on it, like I understand. I understand completely, and that kind of changes how I view that movie a little bit. But
Oh, geez.
as far as this I don't think it makes it bad for me. That movie is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, it's great.
But as far as I guess I didn't get that Normally when I'm watching media, especially back in the 80s and 90s, when Michael Landon and or Highway to Heaven and Touched by an Angel and a lot of those short or stories, like the whole when a Christian leans into a show or Christians are pressuring showrunners to put stuff like it or that in it, it's so over the top, ham fisted and heavy handed that it turns me off from it, and I just can't, I can't ignore it and I can't enjoy it. And I guess I just didn't feel like it was ham-fisted in this episode. It was just subtle enough in the action that thought never really crossed my mind that they live in a world where God and the devil are real. So does it bother me? No. Do I think they went too far because they snuck it up on me? No. No, they weren't trying to convert me with this episode, so fuck it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting because in at least, and I might be misremembering certain scenes or forgetting some scenes in some of the prior religious themed episodes. And if you're a listener out there and you want to sort of weigh in, or you're like, hey, you forgot about this in season 2 or whatever, leave a comment down below. But I thought what was interesting about this is in most of the other religious themed episodes that I remember, the religious stuff is happening to Mulder and Scully. Like they're kind of like experiencing it themselves, and we don't really know again if it's just kind of like they're being manipulated and their brains are kind of just making them think they're seeing things or whatnot. But in this particular episode, just that one scene, right, the devil literally walks into a police station and burns the priest alive.
Kills
like,
him, yeah.
like there's nobody else there. That's a scene that's just for the viewer. And it's just kind of like, oh, well, there is no ambiguity here. Like this is literally a real thing, which makes you wonder, like all the other things that have sort of come before this, your voodoo episodes and all of that stuff. It's like, well, wait, are we living in a polytheistic universe with the X Files? Is all of that stuff just been kind of like in the fever riddled brains of Mulder and Scully as they're like too stressed and experiencing all this weird stuff? Maybe I'm thinking way too deep into it, which I probably am. But it just seemed like just putting your hand down on one side of the scale is like, hey viewer, this is real. The devil could literally walk in and just burn Mulder to a crisp at any time he wanted.
Well, if you take that in context with the rest of the show, like you mentioned, the voodoo and the other religious themes, the Anasazi, all of these things, they didn't prop Christianity up as like the God and the devil or the ultimate good and the ultimate evil. I didn't feel that out of this episode at all. So they're just other deities in addition to other deities we've already seen running around in the world.
So it's kind of supernatural before supernatural,
Oh,
just not a super focus on it.
that's yeah. Supernatural is just a cross between the X Files and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You know this.
Supernatural, by the way, is amazing. I love it. Although I don't think I only ended up getting to season 9. I never saw like the last 6 seasons of that show, and I've specifically stayed away from any spoilers of how that ended up ending, because I'm like, at someday I'm going to go back through and watch all like 8,000 episodes of Supernatural and see how, maybe when I'm in the old folks home, and go back through and see how it all ends. But okay, so overall, your thoughts? You were not a big fan of this episode.
I didn't hate it like I've hated other episodes, and it certainly wasn't written or shot poorly. There wasn't any, real bad effects. There was imagination behind it. It's one of those episodes where they had an angle where they could have given us just a little bit more
Yeah.
and a little bit earlier. So I would have loved to have seen an ambiguous are they actually protecting, you know, some struggle between God and the devil? Are they really trying to prevent something from happening? But in the end, there was a bunch of girls that I did not care about. Scully's kid showing up for no fucking reason, and I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it.
I think her daughter showing up is to sort of connect her faith to this, and because the whole thing at the end was her daughter's like, "Let me go, mommy, let me go," and that's supposed to be symbolically her getting over, I guess, as best she can, the death of her daughter and letting her go into the light. Um, I guess I get it's a very superficial way to sort of explain it, but that's probably the writer saying, "All right, we're done with the kid thing, and now we'll probably never mention Scully's daughter ever again." But we'll see. We shall see. I myself, I enjoyed this episode. The more we talk about it, the more flaws I'm seeing. But I think overall, I was never bored while I was watching it, and I agree with a lot of your criticisms. Though I think it could have been in the hands of a much better writer. It could have been incredible.
Fuck me. Yeah. It
Could
could
have
have
been
been the
incredible
best religious episode, I think.
for sure.
Well, beyond the sea. But anyway.
Yeah. So let's get to the fun facts about this episode. The script for All Souls was written by John Chabon and Frank Spotnitz and directed by Alan Coulter. The original genesis for the episode was an idea developed by Dan Angel. Wow, a guy named Dan Angel develops a story about this. The two storyboard
Little
editors,
self-serving,
yeah,
buddy.
for the series that had left after Christmas of 1997. In this incarnation, the plot was radically different. According to Chabon, the story was about Mulder and Scully and angels, but it never quite worked the way it was originally conceived. Chabon and Spotnitz decided to overhaul the script and feature elements of the earlier Christmas Carol and Emily's story arc, as the writers wanted to include the very universal idea of Scully exploring feelings for her deceased daughter. This episode, according to Andy Meisler, thus became the quote unofficial third part in the story unquote. With this episode, Scully dons the role of the believer, whereas Mulder plays the skeptic. This Mulder Scully crisscross accentuated a major theme for the fifth season. In order to counter some of the darker aspects of the script, Chabon and Spotnitz, on the behest of co-star David Duchovny, added several lines of comic relief delivered by Mulder. According to Duchovny, quote, "It was in the more straight-ahead investigative shows, the creepier, scarier shows, that I would try to make sure that we kept this kind of humanity alive through humor," unquote. And I'd like to think that David Duchovny was the one that was like, "I want to run into a porn theater." Like
Yeah.
put that in this episode. This is all about Scully. It's all about her trauma. But just throw a shot at me running into this porn theater. Scenes at St. John's Church, the church featured in the episode, were shot in the actual St. Augustine Church in Vancouver, British Columbia. Prior to filming, the script for the episode was approved by the church local Monsignor. As a failsafe, the production crew scouted several other churches in case permission was rescinded. Special stained glass windows were created that featured an angel ascending into heaven to go along with the themes of the episode. The episode contained several elaborate effects which were achieved via makeup or CGI. Makeup artist Laverne Basham and hairstylist Angie Bembam were tasked with giving each of the quadruplets, all played by Emily Perkins, a different look. Emily Perkins, by the way, a fairly famous horror scream queen. She's one of the sisters in the Ginger Snaps films, all Canadian films. The visual effects to create the shifting heads of the seraphim were created with CGI, which visual effects supervisor Laurie Calson George finalized only hours before airtime. It
I could
looked like
tell.
it was, yeah, it looked like it was finalized hours before airtime. The scene was created by having actor Tracy Elofson wear a lion mask to track the scene. Then the different heads were filmed against a green screen and composited. Various light effects were then interlaid to, quote, make it look scary, unquote. And it didn't look scary. Didn't look scary at all. And then after watching a rough cut of the episode, Chabon and Spotnitz decided that they were far from the end, feeling that something was missing. The two decided to frame the happenings of the episode with two scenes featuring Scully in a church confessional. Vancouver producer J.P. Finn was chosen to play the priest due to his, quote, hushed delivery and map of Ireland features, unquote. Initially, Gillian Anderson had been given the script for these scenes days in advance. On the day of filming, however, she was sent a number of rewrites and subsequently demanded more time to become familiar with the new script so as to not rush or undermine the emotion she was supposed to put into the scene. See, that's a professional actress right there.
Right.
Someone is like, "Oh, I've prepared, and you gave me all these rewrites. I'm not going to do it until I have time to actually prepare." Good on her. The crew ended up shooting days later. Due to this, Finn never actually filmed with Anderson. In order to make up for the addition of the church scenes, the first cut of the episode had to be trimmed scene by scene and line by line. So there you go, folks. That is All Souls, episode 17 of season 5 of the X Files. What did you think? Leave a comment down below. Let us know. Hit that like and subscribe. Yada yada yada. We got 3 episodes left in this season, Jeremy, and then we've got the movie. We're getting close. How you feeling about coming to the end of season 5?
I I hope the movie's as good as I remember it being. It was such an important thing to me. I don't know, man. I just don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, we'll see you next Friday, everybody, on eXhuming the X Files. Take it easy.